Well, my life has just seen a very quick and unexpected change. I have worked for a bookstore that I just absolutely adored for my entire time playing the circumnavigation, basically since I stopped trying to do YouTube full time. So, you know, a year and a half now. It sold to a new owner, which I wasn't terribly surprised by, but unfortunately I'm no longer employed there. I'll make sure that ferry in the background doesn't run me over. I'm disappointed by this, but I'm also pretty sure that I'll find something else pretty quickly. But now I have a little bit of time and I can do some fun stuff. And so it might be the last week of December here in the Pacific Northwest, but that's not about to stop me from going out and, well, we're motoring right now, but we'll do some sailing here soon. One of the really nice parts is there's a huge storm coming in tomorrow. It's gonna be probably the biggest blow so far this year, and I now have the option to running away to a little cove that's kind of nearby, and it will be, I mean, it'll be safer. I wasn't worried about being in Friday Harbor for it, but it'll definitely be more comfortable. I'm excited. I think this could be a good couple weeks. I don't think there's any point in me trying to find a new job until the new year, because no one's checking their email this week. For tonight's dinner, I'm going to treat myself to one of my fizzies. And I made just a little sandwich with some veggie sausage and cream cheese, tomato, and cilantro. Should be pretty tasty. I left Friday Harbor yesterday, you know, take off on a bit of cruising, but one of the hard parts of cruising in the Pacific Northwest, or any high latitude in the winter, is I have 450 watts of solar on board, and it can't keep up with my power consumption. And it's not even like I consume wild amounts of power. I consume about half a kilowatt hour a day. That's just my devices charging and my fridge running, and then obviously it's dark a lot of this time of year. There's still only about 8 hours of daylight, and so just having the lights on. And so I have to run a generator. It sucks. I have to do it about 2 hours every other day. That's enough to keep everything full and happy and get good deep charges on my batteries. Went to go start the generator this morning and it just won't work. It's been running a little bit rough for the last week. I've literally never serviced this generator. It's not even quite a year old. I guess that's not true. I did an oil change once. Other than that, I've done nothing to it. Last winter, there was a lot of problem with the fuel that the fuel dock in the marina in Friday Harbor had. A lot of it was contaminated with both oil and water. Oil's not quite as big of a deal, especially for a little single-cylinder four-stroke like my generator. But water is a big issue, especially with a single spark plug. Man, if it gets a little droplet of water on it, it's just, there's no chance. Tried to do it like the cheater way this morning and just pull it and drain the carburetor bowl and let the spark plug dry for about 2 hours. Tried it again, ran for about, that was a big breeze. Tried it again, it ran for about 30 seconds and died again and won't start again. So I think I'm gonna tilt it up and siphon the fuel out, or hopefully, you know, a puddle of water at the bottom of the fuel, and then drain the whole interior of it and go from there. Yeah, there's no way I'm gonna be able to show that on camera, but there is a big, oh, you can kind of see it. Yeah, there's a big brown sludgy pool of water down there. There's all the rusty, gross water that was sitting at the bottom of the fuel tank. Yeah, that'll keep your engine from running well, that's for sure. Now I just gotta flush out what is left in the system and go from there. The nice part about that is all this clean fuel floating on top can totally still be reused, so that's good. Well, I couldn't start it with the camera in my hand, but it started right up, which is good. It was having a little bit of trouble moving to run. Yeah, it doesn't like being in run just quite yet. Might let it warm all the way up and then see if it'll sustain itself. It's probably just working the last of that water through its system. Oh, that might be it. Well, might have to let the spark plug dry and try again, but that was at least a heck of a lot better than anything else so far this morning. Yeah, I might try draining the carburetor again. Can show you just how easy they make that on this machine, clearly designed to have it happen every once in a while. Whew, I don't know if you can hear me over the wind. It is breezy out here. It's just 2 screws to open up the housing there, and then they actually have this little hose attached to the drain on the carburetor bowl there. Yeah, and you just open up that one screw and let it drain into something. It's pretty simple. Alright, well the necessary evil, as it were, roars away in the background. I want to go through what I actually intended for this video, which is kind of some of my food strategy for long-term cruising, and this is many of the methods that I've developed over 3 years of living on the boat now, and what I will definitely utilize in the circumnavigation. I actually haven't been utilizing these all that much lately because I've kind of gone lazy, and it's hard to find the motivation to be like a full-time cruiser and a YouTuber and work a full-time job all at the same time. So now that I only have 2 of those 3, I figured I would kind of go through that with y'all. So one of the hardest things for me to solve on the boat is fresh greens, especially, more than any other freshy greens. And so I keep a little bit of cilantro, and then right now the fridge is just packed with food, but the moment that that will fit in the fridge without it getting completely crushed, I will move that to the fridge. The other thing that I tend to do is from time to time pick up a cabbage. They tend to hold pretty well, especially if you keep them in the cool and dark, and if nothing else, it's usually just those outer leaves that start to go. But sometimes, I don't know, like, I don't like really cabbage or cilantro for something like a burger. But what's great for that, and what I've really found is the solution that works for me, is sprouting microgreens. So I really like to get seeds that I know don't have a whole bunch of nasty chemicals on them, because a lot of seeds do. They put some nasty stuff on seeds. And so I get ones that are specific for sprouting. This 1 pound bag has lasted me, I mean, it's still mostly full, and I've been using these for over a year. And they last several years, and they are for sprouting, so they don't have any nasty chemicals on them. And what I do is really easy, especially during the winter. Sometimes during the summer it is nice to grow an actual little bed of them, but during the winter I tend to just sprout them in a jar. Excuse my mess, I'm in the middle of doing some reorganizing. So those little squat mason jars I find work best for this, and I just fill them up with a small handful of seeds. Just about that many seeds. It really doesn't take much, which is part of why they last so long. Then I just fill up some water, and I'll let these soak for about 8 hours for the first soak, and then I will rinse them each day. So I'll show you once they start sprouting here in a couple days. Talk about a beautiful morning for a sail. We're moving our way over to Roach Harbor right now. Got a single reef in the main and the full foresail up. Actually had the cutter sail up as well. And then because it's a sailboat, so you can't sail it without something breaking. Yeah, I actually broke this winch. You know, under this plate, there's a cog with little teeth to stop it right as it goes around. And there's actually 2 for redundancy, and they both failed, so that winch is pretty much useless. I do still have it wrapped. There's not tons of pressure going to the sail right now, so I feel like it's okay. But that's the situation this morning, so when I get to port, I'll fix that winch. There are still a lot of logs out here today, and so I'm keeping a pretty diligent watch. In fact, I really wanted to go make coffee, but I'm not gonna hit another log, and there are several up ahead. Alright, that wind finally died, which is really nice. I mean, it rained right after. I think that was just a legitimate squall that made landfall. But now that it's gone, back to my regularly scheduled projects to get the boat ready to do a few weeks of big sailing. The halyards for all of my head sails are original to the boat still, and I got some really nice new Spectra lines. They're pretty stiff. They're very different than like what I use for the sheets and whatnot, but I think they're going to be really good. So I just sewed the end of the old halyard to the new halyard, and then normally I would do this in the cockpit, but because it's cold, I flaked all of the line into the boat so that when I pull it through, it'll just feed smoothly through the masthead. So I'm just going to open that clutch. Oh, it's already open. I'm gonna go pull that through on the other side. Yikes. That's the end of the halyard. It's pulled all the way through. That's not very much wiggle room, but it's gonna have to be okay. I don't know how I possibly mismeasured that, but I did, so whatever. It's gonna work. It's just, they're real close. They're right at the end. So I'm just gonna go and tie the snap shackle on with a bowline for right now. At some point I'll actually splice that in, but do it when it's not actively raining, and if I'm real lucky, do it when it's not quite so cold. I am back in Friday Harbor now, and just kind of recovering from that time up in Canada. It was really nice. Thank you for watching this first episode. Continuing on, I'm actually in Canada. Most of this episode was sailing from Friday Harbor to Roach Harbor, and then at the end crossing the border there. But there are some fun hikes and some really great sailing, and even the world's cutest tugboats ahead. So please come back in 2 weeks' time and watch part 2. And then in 4 weeks from now will be part 3. I am in a position where I'm starting to make some more regular content again. In fact, today I plan on filming, kind of just running around doing chores, but you know, they're always more interesting when you're on a boat at anchor. Like, I need firewood, and how you figure that logistics out. So please keep checking back in. If you are not already subscribed, please subscribe. If you want to help keep this channel and just the Trans Around the World project alive, it's not in any danger. Me being unemployed for a couple months, well, it does hurt the bank a little bit. It's not the end of the world. I have accepted a shipwright position though, so I will be getting to go and work with boats rather, from books to boats, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So, couple months off rather. Isn't the end of the world for sailing around the world, but it doesn't help. If you want to help make that impact less, you can always go and join my Patreon, where all of these videos are up right now, all 3 parts of sailing in Canada, and you can join for as little as $3 a month, and that really helps support. If you want to make a one-time donation, you can always hit the link for my PayPal down below as well. thank you so much for watching and sharing and liking. And like I said, come back in 2 weeks, hit that subscribe button, and you will get notified when that part 2 of cruising in Canada is up.